Everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishnah Gittin, Parak Base, Chapter 2, Mishnah Alf, Mishnah 1. We began Mishnah 1 yesterday, so we'll quickly read through what we did yesterday and then continue. Hamevi get Mimdinas Hayam, one who brings a bill of divorce from outside of Eretz Yisrael. He's an agent to deliver, he's an agent for the husband to give the get to the wife. V'amar, and he said, B'fanai nichtav, v'loi b'fanai nachtam. He's supposed to say, B'fanai nichtav, in front of me, it was written, in front of me, it was signed. He says, in front of me, it was written, but it wasn't signed in front of me, meaning I didn't see the witness signing. Or he says, B'fanai nachtam, v'loi b'fanai nichtav. Or he says, in front of me, the witness is signed, I saw that, but I did not see the writing of the get. B'fanai nachtav kulai, b'fanai nachtam chetziai. I saw the whole writing of the get, but I only saw half of the signing, meaning I only saw one witness sign. Or b'fanei nachtav chetziai, or if he says in front of me it was written half, b'fanei nachtam kulai, and I saw the entire signing, I saw both witnesses, pasal. The Mishna says in all these cases the get is invalid. And as we mentioned yesterday, regarding when the person says, I only saw half the get being written, that if the half of the get that he saw being written was the main part of the text of the get, which are the names of the husband, the wife, where it's taking place, the dates, and he just didn't see the rest of it, then it would be kosher what he's saying, and the get can be delivered. Okay, now two people are arriving. One is saying it was written in front of me, and the other says it was signed in front of me. That means one says, I saw the writing. The other one says, but I didn't see the signing. The other one says, I saw the signing, but I didn't see the writing. And again, it's one saying each. Puzzle. No good. No good. Now, as the Bartanura explains, we're talking about the two people that are arriving, but only one of them is the agent to deliver the get. The other person is coming like a witness. So whatever the agent says he didn't see, the other one says he did see. But there's only one shliach here delivering it. And therefore, we say the one shliach has to testify about both parts of the get, both the written part and the signing. But as we mentioned yesterday, if let's say they both would have been made agents to deliver the get, which therefore that in that situation, the halacha is that two agents who bring a get don't even have to say, they don't have to say it was written in front of us or signed in front of us. Because once you have two agents saying that the husband sent us, that means you have two witnesses saying the husband sent us. Then that's already telling us that everything here is real. But the case here is that you have of the two people, one is the agent, one is a witness, and being that the agent is not saying about both, he cannot authenticate the get. Next, Shnayim oim b'fanenu nichtav. Two say, in front of us it was written, ve'echad oim b'fanei nachtam, and one says it was signed in front of me. Now again, you got three people here. Only one is the agent. Only one is the shliach. The other two are going to act as witnesses of sorts. So you've got two of the three people saying we saw it being written. Basically have an edus, a testimony of two witnesses that they say we saw it being written. And only one says in front of me it was signed. Says the Mishna puzzle. It's no good. No good. Rabbi Yehuda machshir. But in this case, Rabbi Yehuda says it's kosher. So what's happening here is that even if you have, the situation here is that even if, let me just make sure I'm getting this clear, right? Even if the agent is the one he saw the signing, right? Meaning, we say two people saying in front of it was written, and one says it was signed in my presence. So even if it was the agent who said he saw the signing, since not testify about the entire process, the get is not valid, right? So you've got, even if the witness is saying, he was one of the two saying, I saw it being written, but he can't say that he saw it being signed. Now, Rabbi Yehuda says, in this case, he didn't argue in the other case of the Mishnah, but in this case, where you have two people saying that we saw it being signed, and there's only one person saying that it was signed, two people saying that we saw it being written, and one person saying it was signed, and what the one person saying it was written was the agent. He didn't even say anything about signing. Nonetheless, Rabbi Yehuda says it's kosher. Why is that? So what's unique about this case is the following. Now, it takes a little bit of explanation here. The reason the rabbis required that, here's a question. The whole idea of this shliach, of this agent, is to authenticate the get, right? We want to make it that he should come, authenticate the get, so that if the husband shows up later and says it's a forgery, and it's going to be a situation where you can't find witnesses to authenticate their signatures or others to authenticate their signatures. Excuse me. So the Chachamim made a special rule that the shliach can be the one who authenticates. Now, when you authenticate any document, how do you authenticate it? You say the signatures of the witnesses are real; they're not forged. Which means we have witnesses testifying that what is written above, the story above, is true. That's really all you need. And therefore, one might ask, why does the shliach have to say, I saw it written and I saw it signed? It should be enough to say, I saw it signed. You want to give him the power like two witnesses to authenticate, then it should be enough for him to say, I saw it being signed. And that's the way you authenticate any document. Why does he also have to be able to say, I saw it being written? And the answer to that is because the sages were concerned that if hereby a get, we allow one witness to authenticate the document, people might come to think you can authenticate any document with one witness, and that's not true. This was a special rule, a special rule that the Chachamim made regarding a woman's divorce. But when it came to other documents, they never made that leniency. So if all the one witness has to do is authentic, if all you have to do is authenticate the signatures, people might think one witness do that all the time. Therefore, the Chachamim said, here where we're allowing one witness to authenticate the signatures, he's also got to authenticate the writing, which you never have to do by other documents when you authenticate them. By other documents, when you bring witnesses to authenticate the signatures, no one has to be able to say, I saw it being written. That's what the witnesses are saying. They're saying that it was written. Now you got to know, the witness's signature is real or forged. So they come, or other people come and say, these are their signatures, it's real, everything's fine. No one has to ever say, I saw it being written. And therefore, now that by the get, we make it necessary for the one witness who is authenticating the signatures to also say, it was written in front of me, now people know it's different. People know it gets different, and they're not going to compare it to other things. And therefore, and because of this reason, you need him to say both. You got him to say both. And if he only says one, no good. Now, says Rabbi Yehuda, in this case, though, when you have two people that are saying in front of us it was written, so even though it comes out one of those people was the agent, and he never said anything about the signatures, still it's kosher. Why? Because he says like this. He says, is that, so again, really, in essence, the Chachamim are giving by the Shliach, they're giving one witness the ability to authenticate the signatures. What are you concerned about? You're concerned about, let me go back. So therefore, going back into the Tanna Kama. So the Tanna Kama says that you need the witness himself to go ahead and say, I saw it being written. Now, in our case of the Mishnah, he has to be able to say both. Now, in our case of the Mishnah, when two people testified about the writing, and one of them was the shliach, right? And he doesn't say anything about the signing, or let's say he says about the signing, the other one say about the writing, he didn't say both. If he doesn't say both, not going to be kosher. Says Rabbi Yehuda, if you have two witnesses on the signing, you'll be okay. Why? Because when people see that two people authenticated the writing, that alone is going to make and indicate to them this is different than the other document. If the whole concern is that I need to make sure that there's a testimony on the writing in order for people to understand that this is the bill of divorce is different than other documents when it comes to authentication, which can only by other documents be done by two. Even though here it won't be the shliach who's saying on both, but if I already have two witnesses on the writing, which is very unusual, you never need two witnesses on the writing. Here, where two witnesses are going to testify about the writing, that alone will indicate to people that it's different. And therefore, if it comes out that the shliach only testified about one thing, we won't have a problem. At the end of the day, we're going to get what the Chachamim wanted. We're going to be able to have one witness authenticating the signatures, and we'll have an indication for people that this is different in other kinds of documents, that other documents needs two, and this is a special case, only one is enough. So, according to Rabbi Yehuda, although it's not the shliach himself who's talking about both, it's good enough as long as you have two witnesses on the writing part. Now, what the following case in the Mishnah, the following case in the Mishnah is like this. One said in front of me was written, and two say it was signed in front of us. So did the agent testify about both? Not necessarily. He didn't, right? That's the case. He's not testifying about both. But when you have two witnesses on the signatures, everybody says kosher, it's kosher. You know why? Because now you have a regular kiyum shtaris. You have a regular authentication of a shtar. How do you authenticate any document? Two witnesses come and say that these signatures are real. So when you have two of these three people saying in front of us it was signed, that means they're saying we know that these signatures are for real. That's a regular standard kiyum shtaris. If you have a regular standard authentication of a document here, doesn't matter what the shliach says or doesn't say. The shliach could have said nothing. And if two witnesses come and say that these are authentic signatures, the whole thing is kosher. And therefore, in this case where again, the shliach brought it, the other two are witnesses. Even if the shliach doesn't say that he saw both the writing and the signing, but if it's two people say they saw the signing, then two people authenticating signatures is regular kiyum shtaris, regular authentication of a document. You could have had the shliach saying, I didn't say anything. But if two witnesses come and say that this is authentic, these signatures, it'd be a kosher get. And therefore, in this case, everybody says kosher. But in the case before, the Tanna Kama, the first opinion said, when the two people are talking about the writing, not the signing, I don't have a regular authentication of signatures like by another document, then already you need the shliach to say both. Have a wonderful day and a good Shabbos.